can also find them as far north as Canada, where it's just getting very cold, and as far south as Mexico, where it's really warm. So these are quite a versatile, wide-ranging species, which does also mean that they can cope with whatever the British weather has to put them through. So that's always happening. Let me introduce you to the pair, and I'll start with the little fella first. So this is a guy, he's called Louis. And Louis is our baby, he's only 11 years old, so he's our youngest, second cutest one. He's really, really clever, loves to learn new things, show everybody what people do. He's also quite vocal at times, but in general, Louis is ever so laid back. He sometimes falls asleep in his blood, doesn't always listen or pay attention either, do you? But that is our lovely little Louis. Now, the big noisy fella in the corner, this is Arthur, and Arthur is 22 years old today. He's Arthur. So it's a very special day today here at Knowsley. Arthur's 22, and out of the 3 sea lions that we look at here at Knowsley, Arthur is the naughtiest. He's really cheeky, he causes a lot of trouble, and he makes an awful lot of noise if you haven't gathered that already. But I can't always say mean things about you because it is your birthday today, and he is a really, really clever boy. And he's also very friendly. Arthur loves a flippy show, don't you? Are you going to try and be a good boy for me today on your birthday? Oh, you are, aren't you? You always said that. So we will soon find out. So that's our 2 lovely boys. Now, I'm going to start off by getting them to show you guys an ability that sea lions are very famous for. And that is, of course, their ability to balance things on the end of their nose. Now, a lot of people know sea lions can do this, but then everybody knows how it's done. So, Louis, will you show everybody, please, and hang on to this? Very good. So the secret to this is all in the lovely whiskers you can see on Louis' face. His whiskers are not strong enough to hold that big wooden fish or move it around in any way. But they are very, very sensitive, so they feel for movement. So Louis listening to his whiskers, and then he's moving his head around in the right direction with his long, flexible neck to try and stop the fish from falling in. So as long as Louis concentrates and listens carefully to his whiskers, he really can balance all day long. But obviously in the wild, their whiskers do have a much more important use. They are not there to help them balance big wooden fish on their noses, of course not. You see, out in the wild, they use their whiskers to help them find their food. Sea lions live off fish and squid. And fish and squid make an awful lot of movement. So their whiskers, they feel for the movement and vibrations that are made. They leave the water. And their listening to that helps them pinpoint exactly where the fish and squid are. So their whiskers really are very important when it comes to the sea lions family. Yeah, give them both a round of applause. When I introduced these 2 to you earlier, I did introduce them as sea lions because they're not seals. People call these guys seals all the time, and it isn't true. They are 2 completely different species. In fact, they actually get a little bit embarrassed. Louis, how do you feel when somebody calls you a seal? Yeah, it's very upsetting, isn't it? They do, to be fair, look very similar, and they do come from the same their back flippers from side to side, a little bit like a fish. But because these guys swim using their big front flippers, it means they will strengthen muscles in their chest and in their shoulders, making them very strong and quite good at a little bit of gymnastics. So come on then boys, show everybody for me please. A front flipper stand, get your big bumps up in the air. It'll take you a minute to get their balance, but we will get there in the end. This also means that seals and sea lions move very differently on land as well, which is another great way to tell the two apart. So I'm going to take Louis for a little walk around, just so you can see how he gets about when he's not in the water. But firstly, let me tell you more about his back flippers, because sea lions have the ability to rotate their back flippers forwards and backwards. So when Louis is swimming or he's relaxing on land, his back flippers will be stretched out behind him. But as you can see, he's rotating them forward. So he's formed himself almost like a pair of feet. So watch as Louis walks, all four of his flippers, they move independently to one another. So he's now got four separate walking limbs. And this means he walks in the same way as a dog or a cat or any other four-legged animal. This also makes him pretty long way. Louis can jump over things. And he can also jump up to try and reach for things, standing on his back flippers instead. And he can even use his front flippers to roll himself over as well. Very slowly. I'll let him do one more. And then give him a little round of applause. So as you can see, sea lions really are incredibly mobile on land. Seals, however, they move very differently on land, don't they, Louis? So these two, they are great at doing the impression. So Louis is going to help me show you how the seal would get about on land instead. Come on, Louis, show everybody, how does a seal move on land? Can you remember? Yeah, that's it. So seals do around on their bellies, and they do look like giant slugs. And this is because of their tiny front flippers, which are still like that, remember? They can't use them in the same way for walking. So sea lions will always be much more mobile than those sea lions. And if you haven't guessed, this is Louis' favourite thing to do. But that was a brilliant seal impression. Give him a round of applause. Now, with all those differences between seals and sea lions, there are of course a few things that they do share in common. The first thing and most important thing is their food, their daily diet of fish and squid. Now, fish and squid, they're not easy things to try and catch, whilst they use their lovely whiskers to locate where they are. They've also got to have good eyesight and a good sense of speed and direction. Now, what we see here at Knowsley, we feed these guys. Today they've got herring and scraps on the menu. So to show you just how good they are at catching things, I'm going to give 5 drinks to the birthday boy. Let's see how many he can catch over his head. Are you ready, Arthur? Here we go. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. Very good. So they're all pretty easy. So I'm going to spin the last one. Makes it faster and harder for Arthur to catch. So if he does, you can give him a round of applause. Okay? Are you ready, Arthur? Here it comes up. Now litter, plastic and hazard pollution, they're enemies to all animals around the world. But even animals here in our park, remember the amount of litter, that will get thrown into our pools here at Moseley. So we decided to teach all of our students to show you guys exactly what we should be doing with our litter. Because our take-home message is, if we can teach 3 sea lions to put their rubbish in a bin, then there's no excuse for us. So please, wherever you are around the world or around the surprise party today, be like, get your rubbish in the bin, and of course, give them a big round of applause. Now, we are unfortunately coming quite close to the end of this afternoon's display, but before we go, I am going to let the boys finish things off with their favourite bit. This is where they both get to do a little bit of showing off by leaping out of the water to try and touch this big ball. And I'm going to let it down for Arthur first. Arthur can hit the hard ball. Which I can go about there, is that okay? All we want him to do is touch that pink ball with his nose. So if Arthur manages this, you've got to give him a big round of applause because he's so good. And this show takes loads of efforts as well. Now we always do this so the guys get settled in okay. And always get a big splash at the front there. You're okay guys, you park it up and shout and go as loud as we can. So stay with me, right? Are you ready out there? Here we go everybody. 1, 2, 3, go! Either way, will you get it?
And then he had to like
because at the end of the display, we will be selling posters of Arthur, Louis and Roger Arthur, the little sea lion, from the green shop by the exit doors. Now we've got individual posters of each sea lion, they're £2 each, already free for a £5, but we've also got our limited edition poster of, I must have dropped the tiniest cup, they're like apples these, they never miss anything. So as I was saying, so we're selling our individual posters, £2 each, already free for a £5, but we've also got our limited edition poster of all 3 sea lions together, and that's £5 also. So if you haven't enjoyed the display, and you would like to take a poster of your favourite sea lion home, do come and see us at the end. And if you penny from the posters, go straight back to these guys as well, so you'll be helping to support our lovely sea lions too. If you don't want a poster, you might like to help us out with our charity. It's the Monk Seal Conservation Trust. The monk seal is one of the most endangered animals in the world, so we're trying to do our bit to help. So if you would like to make a donation to them, we're collecting a new plastic sea lion on your head. As I said, we haven't finished yet. He's Louis too. Louis is brilliant at this. His eyeball goes to about there. And again, all we want him to do is touch the ball with his nose as well. So if Louis manages it, you've got to give him a big round of applause as well, because he is ever so good. And this takes